Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome to this Star Savior video. So in this Star Savior video, we're going to talk about everything that's equipment related. And before we start, I'm using my JP account to showcase for the one last time because I haven't been playing my JP account as much because I don't have that much time. But my JP account is further, so there's more to show. And for those of you guys who haven't reached the T2 side of things, this is what you guys can expect moving forward. And for the very first part, we will talk about the difference between the late game gears. So most of you guys should be at the T1 gear already. And the final tier of the gear is actually this T2 gear right here. So this is your end game gear. Your end game gear grinding, subset grinding, and min-maxing comes once you reach this one. So this is unlocked after Operation Stage 14. I can't remember exactly if it's once you reach 14 or after you clear 14. But you only see this after you reach that Stage 14 benchmark. So this is the T1, T2 difference. And the difference between T1 and T2 is the higher base stats. So this is a plus 15 T2 equipment at 280 attack. This is plus 15 T1 equipment, 200 attack right here. So the set bonus, as far as I can observe, there isn't too much of a difference. Like if you take a look at this Valor set right here, this is 5%, 5%. This is a T2 Valor set, which is also 5%, 5%. Let's see if I can get more equipments for the showcase. I think I have more boots. So boots have greater comparison. Yeah, so this is a T2 speed boot. Okay, plus 15 at 33 speed. And then 15 speed for the speed set. T1, 15 speed. As well as the 25 speed right here. So the difference between T1 and T2 is the stat on the equipment itself. At least on the main stats, T2 is confirmed to be higher. For the substats, as far as I can observe, T2 gears typically have slightly higher values as well. But I don't have enough sample size to show you guys because I only have this amount of gear. So there could be a possibility that the values of the substats might not be definitively higher, right? But generally speaking, you will be focusing more on your T2 gears because they just have higher base stats, which translates to more stat stacking over all the different stat lines. So that's with regards to the T1 and T2 difference. So this is your end game gear that you're looking at, right? So you don't actually have to grind too much for the T1 gears. But like I mentioned earlier, if you're stuck, you need the additional oomph, then feel free to upgrade them. So that's with regards to the end game gears. Now, there's also this engraving option. So if, let's see if I have another unit which I haven't engraved yet. Okay, so I have Charlotte's one engraved. I think I have all my main units one engraved. So I'll just engrave one which I don't main. Okay, so you can only engrave your gear at plus 15. So let me see if I have a plus 15 which I haven't engraved yet. Yeah, so right here. Right, so when you have the equipment at plus 15, you have this engrave tab. So when you engrave the gear, you actually boost the gear further. And this is the end game gear binding to a specific character. So let's say if I engrave this to Charlotte, okay, we get the increased stats, pretty nice. And then you can't actually shift the equipment to another unit. So do take note of that. This is like your end game optimization. T2, hunting for all your substats as well as your best main stat. And then you engrave it on the unit that you are maining or intending to use the equipment for. So you can obviously remove the engraving, pretty easy. So engraving is just a way to boost the overall main stat at the cost of gold. So this is what you will do in the late game once you are at the gear farming stage of things. So that's with regards to how the end game gear looks like. Before we move on to talk about the enhancement side of things, I'll talk about the gear farming side first. So this is something which some people might have some questions about. In the early game, you'll be spending your daily willpower on Distorted Emotions as well as Forgotten Oath because these are the dungeons where the main stats are more valuable for your PvE pushes. So attack percentage plus Valor is like the most optimal on most DPS, or your Insight set plus Valor is the way to go for the early game DPSs in most cases. And then there are certain DPSs which are HP based, then you want health set plus barrier set. And obviously units like Ashera, units like Emily, where they want as much HP as possible to tank or heal, you're going for these two set bonuses. So these are the two dungeons which you spend your willpower in the early game. And then as you move into the late game, that's where you start to hunt for your T2 gears. That's where you hunt for your best speed gears, your best substats, etc, etc. In the early game, the the gear hunting is non-existent because you want to at least get to stage 9 so that you're able to maximize the drop rate on your yellow gears. Because like even at stage 7, you see that there's a possibility of your green gears dropping, right? So the rates of the stronger gears will increase as you move down the dungeons, and that's where you start hunting and min-maxing only once you reach like stage 9 or stage 10. In the early game, you just go to your storage and then you choose the best set and then you choose the correct min stats and then you're good to go. So one thing with regards to the equipment selection side is, I think this is something which some of you guys might not know, is that you can actually long press the icon or the equipment to see the main stats that you're looking at. So this is especially important for your accessory because initially when I first started the game, I did not know about this for the equipment unlock. So I just simply take a look at the gear. For example, like all of this are speed, right? So I just randomly chose one. But if you long hold on this, you can see the main stats. Like this one is attack percentage. If you long hold on this one, this is HP percentage, and then so on and so forth. So before you select your accessories or your rings, you want to long hold on your equipments to just make sure that you have the correct main stats that you want. So this is important to min-max in the early game for your T1 gears, because for the early game, you will be focusing more on the set bonuses and also the main stats. You're not looking too much at the substats. So that's with regards to the equipment hunting and also the chest selection. Just some TLDR to take note of. And do take note, there's actually a Kender Square shop for the hunt quest. So for this part, I typically don't recommend the random boxes because there's just too many RNG factors from the tiers of the equipments as well as the main stats to consider. That makes it very inefficient because there's actually a lot of equipment boxes from all the quests where you can actually choose the exact main stats that you want, which we showcased earlier. So this is where all these boxes, they are not very attractive, and you would be much better off using your coins on the enhancement stones. So you can actually get to plus 15s on your important gears more easily, or just get more upgrade across the board more easily. Another option would be using your coins on all these materials. So for my end, I'm able to buy all the T2 materials for crafting. So you can actually craft for the exact slot that you want, and you can hunt for the desired main stats more easily that way. So this is with regards to the hunt quest. And for the enhancement portion, the cost to upgrade the tier or the plus 0 to plus 15 for the equipment increases exponentially. So for the early game, what I can suggest is for the T1 gears, there's two ways to go about it. Number one, you upgrade to plus 9 across the board. So plus 9 will upgrade plus 3, plus 6, plus 9. Upgrade 3 of these substats to give you a fair bit of boost here and also a decent enough main stats. Right? Another way to go about it is what I did is plus 15 to just max out my main stats. So this was actually previously my Emily gear with the HP percentage boost because Emily was one of my main units. So right now it's transferred to Charlotte. So Charlotte is not supposed to be an attack percentage, but then because I've upgraded this to plus 15, we have pretty decent main stats right here at plus 15. We can transfer these gears to my other units later on. So this is what I see, but some people might say that the cost to upgrade from plus 0 to plus 15 is really big. So just do plus 9 across the board. But at the end of the day, it depends on, like what you need and also how much more stats you need to push through those stages. So the min-maxing depends on your own account and the units you have. But typically, just know that when you are enhancing the gears, it's very expensive to go from plus 0 to plus 15. So either one, you do the plus 9, plus 12 trick across all your equipments, or you focus on the key stats for the important units. Like if it's HP percentage, then you're upgrading your pendant as well as your ring and also your gauntlets right here because this gives you the HP. And then for your DPSs, you're looking at the weapon and you're looking at obviously attack percentages and also attack on orders and also speed on your boots right here. So it is really dependent on what stats you're hunting for, how much stats you need to push through to the late game. But in general, the rule of thumb is plus 12 across the board if you want to be efficient for your T1 gears in the early game. If you need that additional oomph, then you push to plus 15. So that's with regards to the gear upgrading side. And last but not least, let's move on to the craft shop. So if you take a look at all these different names over here, Motivator is the first dungeon, Wendigo is the second dungeon, Perseus is the third dungeon. And for the crafting side of things, typically what I would advise is you use the gear molds to farm for your desired set in the late game. So this is for the late game side of things, right? But in the early game, you want to use your T1 motivator gear mold on ore to craft, because the cost to craft ore is lower compared to all the other like slots. So this is where you can actually mass craft this, and then you use your equipment boxes to hunt for the other slots that you're missing, or hunt for the specific sets. Because for this motivator gear mold ore, the first 3 slots as well as the boot, they are fixed. So first slot is attack, second slot is HP, third slot is defense, and then your boots, they are speeds. So if you get either of those, then the main stats, they are pretty much done, right? So you just need to use the equipment boxes to hunt for your accessories, and the cost is lower, and eventually all these T1 gears, they will be converted to the folders for the T2 gears in the late game anyway. So for the crafting side, I would recommend this one for all the different T1 gears. And then for the T2 side, this is where you are more focused on getting the correct slot for the equipments and the sets, because this is where you min-max. This is where you hunt for the best min stats, the best substats, the best slot for your equipments in general. So the early game side, use this on this one. So you will save on your crafting cost, as well as, craft as much as possible with the same amount of materials right here. And then you select the other desired slots from your equipment selection chest. And once you go into late game, all these T1 gears that you crafted that may not be that useful will be used as folders for your T2 gear. So that's with regards to the crafting shop side. So hopefully this video is simple and clear-cut enough to understand the basics and what to expect moving forward. I actually wanted to do that level by level calculation for the equipment side, but I'm not sure if that's something that people will be interested in. So let me know what you guys want to see next for the upcoming video, so I can actually fine-tune the videos to suit that requirement. And if not, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do remember to like and subscribe to see more. See you guys again in my next video. Bye guys!